This is a theme park Thursday, a double down, a triple down. Because you didn't do the middle one yet, so it's a double down.
The middle one is delayed due to a bit of editing that has to happen in the video. So there might be the triple down today, unless we do a tomorrow's not blog but video. I don't know.
Remember when we were going to do that tomorrow's blog? That was a thing. That was a part of this podcast.
How long did that last? Twice? That happened twice.
Aren't we still doing it? But we just haven't done it.
We are. We totally are. So it's just a double down for now. So far, we're just up to the double down.
Once upon a time, many years ago, when we decided to do the podcast, we were like, we'll blog the day after the podcast, and we'll call it Tomorrow's Blog after the classic Spaceship Earth anthem.
Right.
Tomorrow's Child. And fail. Which,
of course.
Which further back, the origin story of Dillo's Diz is that we were bloggers. We were going to be bloggers back in 2011, and we did a lot of blogs, but they're spread out over many years.
Many, like since 2011. I feel like that's when we joined Twitter, and we were only brother and sister Dillo because we didn't want anyone to know our identities.
You will not know our names, by God. Look at us now.
No names, no current photos, only flashback photos. We're not telling you anything about us. Now, there my toenail is in an envelope at Mama and Papa Dillo. Now everyone knows everything.
Well, this is a Theme Park Thursday double down. She is Jen.
Hello.
And I am Frank, and we are here for the third round of the Dillo's Diz. My favorite thing about Disney ever this year, March Madness Mania Pool. All right, I was ready tonight.
Oh, one has a lot of one.
The Dillo's Diz, my favorite thing about Disney ever this year, March Madness Mania Pool. At least I have the foghorn tonight.
Yeah.
Now, we started this 2 weeks ago because we had a guest on Theme Park Thursday, the podcast, and we're like, well, we have no time to talk about our first round picks. We'll take it to the live stream. And now, because the demand was so great.
Yeah, correct. Y'all wanted us here.
So for 3 weeks in a row now, we are live streaming here on a Thursday night.
That's right.
It's a Theme Park Thursday.
Got to keep the party going.
Yeah, never stop, never give up, never surrender. So we're here for the third round. We're up to the Sweet 16. We're moving on to the Elite 8 in the Dillo's Diz. My favorite thing about Disney ever this year, March Madness Mania Pool. So we'll be sharing some picks that we've received over the last several weeks. If you wanted to vie for the $64 hashtag Dillo's Madness, which we will give out a $64 gift card on April the 1st when we announce the winner. We had those submissions come in by March 11th, but you can still play along. Ask for a bracket, dillosdiz@gmail.com.
Yes.
Today, we're picking the 8th. Now, the 64 picks in the past, we've done movies, songs, different brackets for different things, Disney Plus series, what have you. This year, we're so hell-bent on getting back to Walt Disney World. This is 64 entries that are Walt Disney World specific. So we're doing that here live on the Theme Park Thursday for the third week in a row. We're going to keep it going here next week and the week after. We've already committed to it. We said on the podcast. It's real.
It's real. It's said on the podcast. It's true.
It's true. So, Jen, the queen of Disney live stream at this point.
Why? Because it's my third night of it. The makeup gets less over the days, everybody. So.
Speaking of, you didn't want people to know your identity when we started out as bloggers, bad bloggers in 2011. Here you are.
Mr. Dillo in the house, live streaming every night. What up, guys?
So the bracket, we have 4 separate divisions of brackets. We have the Walter Elias bracket. We have the Roy O bracket. We have the Eisner bracket, and we have the Iger bracket.
Yeah.
And we've been slowly dwindling here. Jen, do you have any commentary you want to add here while I realize that I've spoken too much?
You've just been talking the whole time. I first wanted to welcome in Dr. Val, Lewis, and Jocelyn, and the whole family of the Disney Bucket List family. I don't want to just assume that's just Jocelyn. So hello to everyone. And to those watching that are choosing to brother and sister Dillo it up by not saying you're here. Hello to you as well. So for this round, currently I have 2 question marks.
Oh, 2 question marks. I have 1 question mark. So there's one I have not picked from 16 to 8 yet. So let's get right to it. We don't want to keep people up all night long. You have been live streaming enough this week. Just to review, that was the Grays area over on Angela Dahlgren's.
The gray area?
What do I call it?
The Grey's Anatomy. The gray area.
The Grey's area.
Anatomy. Correct. So if you like Grey's Anatomy, we just wrapped up season 1. We're going to take next week off, and then we're coming back for season 2.
Very nice. You only have 716.
Correct. It's fine. It's fine.
So then in the Walter Elias bracket, just to review, we had the Grim Grinning Ballroom for Haunted Mansion versus the Toy Story Mania Shootin' Arcade. We had the Creative Greenhouse on the Land versus Dole Whip Adventureland only. Please, you know how we roll. We had Uncle Orville in the Tub versus the Star Tours Queue. We had Everest going backwards versus the Grand Fiesta Tour around the pyramid right there next to the restaurant. The Rise of the Resistance Hangar Bay versus the Space Mountain Launch. And that means from when you start until you're about to get over the top of the hill. We had a Soarin' over the Matterhorn because I have a lot of recurring dreams about the Matterhorn in Disneyland. So that's what I included here. Of course, I made this bracket. Jen had no say in it whatsoever.
So blame Frank.
Right. So Soarin' over the Matterhorn versus Fire Rock Geyser over at Wilderness Lodge. The monorail around Epcot versus the carousel ride. 1 carousel ride in Fantasyland. And the test track test lap versus Humanga Kawabunga.
Yes. Oh, yay. We have Brian and Mac too. Hello, all.
Hello there. So let me make sure I got what's up here just to get right to it. Ryan Alexander asked for a bracket here. That's my That's my notes.
I know. I don't even understand. You know what? Today on today's episode, you talk about my chicken scratch of handwriting. How do you know who anyone
the screenshot
is?
Because I screenshot it and then the initials with my finger. It's not my handwriting from a marker. It's my finger on an iPhone.
Allegedly.
Anyway, so Ryan's here. He's got the Dole Whip versus Everest going backwards, and the Rise Hangar Bay versus a carousel ride. I think it was a very nice Sweet 16 choices, and he has Everest going backwards and the Rise Hangar Bay facing off in the Elite 8. Our friend Steffers, of course, over at Frozen Reflections Design Company and her blog. Make sure you check that out.
AdventuresWithSteffers.com.
That's right. She has the Grim Grinning Ballroom versus Everest backwards with Grim Grinning Ballroom moving on. And that's the Space Mountain Launch versus the test track test lap with Space Mountain moving on, which I think is a bit of a surprise there, I think. Jen, who do you want to pick first here? Remind us of who is in your Sweet 16 the Walter Elias bracket, and who will be moving on to the Elite 8 or the quarterfinals, if you will.
Right, because whatever that means. So I have Dole Whip versus the Star Tours Queue, and the Space Mountain Launch versus the Carousel. So that was my Sweet 16. Sorry, I just dropped my mic there. It just decides to do what it wants.
Mic drop. It's over.
Mic drop. It's over, everybody.
Thanks.
I can't make those decisions right now. I'm not ready. All right. So I am going with. No, you know what? Say your Sweet 16 first.
All right. So I had the Grim Grinning Ballroom versus the Star Tours Queue.
Yeah.
And I had the Rise Hangar Bay versus the Test Track Test Lap.
All right. Okay.
Are you ready to commit, or is one of your question marks?
No, I'm ready to commit. Yeah, this is not one of my question marks.
Lock in your answer. Zip, what is up?
Hello, 'Zip. Hello, Jeffers, and hello, Lee. Lee, you are awake again. It's amazing.
I don't understand what
I
hours
don't know
you
what you're
operate.
doing.
You got Lee. You run more hours than the Magic Kingdom during Christmas week. For God's sake.
Lee, you're also like up. I see you up interacting with everyone. By the time I wake up in the morning, I'm like, does he sleep? Does he get any sleep in between?
And for everyone else, Lee is across the pond here.
That's right.
Which is he's in a different time zone altogether.
Yes, exactly.
All right, Jen. I gave you a little extra delay here to make your picks.
I am going with Dole Whip versus the Carousel.
Dole Whip versus the Carousel. All right. I feel you.
I feel it's very on brands for me, you know, so whatever.
All right. So I have the Grim Grinning Ballroom versus the Star Tours queue. And I really thought about, because last week I talked about how the ballroom has like really grown on. I was never like a big haunted man. We were never big haunted mansion people. But with the Imagineering story and things like that, the ballroom scene in particular has grown on me a lot. But the Star Tours queue is becoming kind of like a Cinderella. I mean, there's a couple of Cinderellas I could talk about here. But I went with the Star Tours queue because I probably, at this point, rather walk through the queue and then walk right across the ride and back into the gift shop than and maybe get sick for the rest of the day. But so I went with the Star Tours queue, and I picked I think this is a surprise too, but I went with instinct. I picked the Test Track Test Lap over the Rise Hangar Bay.
All right, fair.
So there it is.
I want to address some things here. Yes. First, Lee, this is a brilliant idea. Dole Whip on the carousel. Yes, absolutely. Dr. Val, is there a specific location? Yes, always. There is only Adventureland. Backup is Polynesian. That's it. This Dole Whip is not being eaten anywhere else.
No. In real life, we will accept the Poly as the backup Dole Whip location. Like if we ran out of time and we had to get out of the kingdom, and our car, we were afraid they might tow our car out of the Polynesian parking lot or something because we've been parking it. We don't do that. No. We would get Dole Whip in the Poly. Right. That is the backup, but it's really Adventureland only. And it's always good to revisit these things so you can see how worked up we get about it every single time.
Correct. Yeah. And hello, Nate. Welcome in. Okay.
Welcome, Nate. Yes. All right. So that is bracket number 2. Did you hit? I want to make sure. I got a vowel there. No, you're fine. So we're moving on to the Roy O bracket. If you're just jumping in, this is hashtag Dillos Madness. This is the Sweet 16 who will move on to the Elite 8 in the Dillos. There's my favorite thing about Disney ever this year, March Madness Mania pool. I gotta remember to keep the horns short because the child is sleeping in the same New York City apartment. Yeah. Let's try not to get Frank in trouble in the middle of the live stream. So speaking of Nate Hardy, let's bring up Nate Hardy's Roy O bracket here. Just to remind everyone first, it was the Splash Briar Patch. That's the drop versus the Dormouse in the Teapot at the Mad Tea Party. The Backside of Water versus the Seas Aquarium. The Diamond Mine portion of Seven Dwarfs Mine Train versus the Pirates of the Caribbean queue. Tinkerbell Flies from the Castle versus the Imagination Fountain, the Stretching Room and Haunted Mansion versus the Navi River Shaman, the Town of Tumbleweed and Big Thunder Mountain versus the Indiana Jones, basically that opening scene with the boulder, and then the Views from Dumbo versus the finale of the Electrical Water Pageant and the Rock and Roller Coaster Launch with Aerosmith, starring Sunny Eclipse. That would be interesting.
The
Rock and Roller Coaster starring with Aerosmith, starring Sunny Eclipse. Someone put that on a t-shirt.
We're on it. Well, we're on it. You know what? You'll see it at Dillos Disney Public. Don't take the idea.
The Rock and Roller Coaster starring Sunny Eclipse.
Yes.
Mr. Snidillo.
Paging Mr. Snidillo.
All right, so Nate here had the Dormouse beating the back. No, he had the Backside of Water beating the Dormouse and the Teapot to go to the Sweet 16. He had Tinkerbell over the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. He had the Stretching Room over Indiana Jones Stunt Boulder and the Rock and Roller Coaster Launch over the finale of the Electrical Water Pageant. And here he's got the Backside of Water and the Stretching Room to face off in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear to Nate that if you saw any of the faces I was making as Frank was reading, it had nothing to do with your picks, but because I was just trying to stifle a sneeze. So I don't want to appear insulting. So just okay.
Nate, along with our friend Theme Park Rob here, are both guests of Dillo's Diz Resort.
That's
and hashtag Dillo's Madness is brought to you by DillosDizResort.com, your virtual destination for exclusive Dillo's Diz content with Patreon memberships beginning as low as $1 per month. We're working on maybe a special offer for those if you join in April for $1 on April 1st, April Fool's Day. We're going to do a live stream that night, but we might we're working on a special offer for any newcomers in April. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Theme Park Rob here has got the Briar Patch versus Tinkerbell with Tinkerbell moving on. He's got the Views from Dumbo versus the Stretching Room with the Stretching Room moving on. And Hyperion Adventures podcast, I believe perhaps maybe there will be a guest on Theme Park Thursday in the near future. We have here the Backside of Water versus a Tinkerbell with Tinkerbell moving on, courtesy of Hyperion Adventures podcast, and the Stretching Room. Same as Theme Park Rob, with the Stretching Room over the finale of the Electrical Water Pageant. Jen?
Yes. Dr. Val is also a guest at Dillo's Diz Resort. She said, don't forget me.
Oh, yeah.
You know, she's such a great guest, and she just, she cleans up after herself. We don't even need to send housekeeping or anything.
No.
So, you know.
She doesn't come to the desk to complain about anything?
No, never. Never.
So here we've got Splash. I have in my Sweet 16 the Splash Briar Patch versus the Imagination Fountain, and Big Thunder Mountain, the town of Tumbleweed, versus the finale of the Electrical Water Pageant. Jen, what do you have in the Sweet 16?
I have the Seas versus the Essential Fountains, and the Stretching Room versus the Pageant. What did you go with?
This here, I went with Splash Mountain over the Imagination Fountains, and the finale of the Electrical Water Pageant over Big Thunder Mountain, which poses an interesting matchup for next week, because 2 years ago, Splash Mountain won my favorite thing about Disney ever this year, March Madness Mania Pool. Not quick enough on the horn for that one.
Seriously.
But the Electrical Water Pageant, and I specified the finale in particular, because to me, the finale is still most reflective of how it was 35 years ago. You know, they've tweaked the music for the Whale and King Neptune and all those early floats over time. Right. But when it changes over into Americana,
it all comes back.
It all comes back. It's all coming back to me. And maybe that's a TikTok. Can you do that with the Stars and Stripes of the Electrical Water Pageant too? Yeah. No one's gonna get it. But
no one's gonna get it though. You know what? We need these to go viral. You know, so I have to think. But if that song ever becomes a trending song, then we hop right on that. Go right in on it. Oh.
I don't see how the Stretching. I know. Again, I love the Stretching Room too. Don't get me wrong. Again, it's just how I feel. The Haunted Mansion just doesn't hold that place for me.
Yeah.
So, Jen, your picks.
All right. So I went Essential Fountains over the Seas, and I am sorry, Disney Bucket Family. I went the Electrical Water Pageant finale over the Stretching Room.
All right, so you got Electrical Water Pageant, and you got
the Essential Fountains.
The Essential Fountains. Oh yeah, you had to back up your words, your 2020 words about the Essential Fountains.
Yeah, I know. Well, I have to. I can't. I can't go against it. Like, there are so many things in here as we're getting closer and closer. But I say things in any episode of anything that we do. I say, save the Muppets. I say Essential Fountains. I say, oh my God, I just want to, what else was that? Talk about jelly rolls. And, there's a lot of things.
Do we have to work on a new intro with different sound bites because of the things we say now? I don't
know. Because people are only just getting some of it now. So right. I think we got to wait that out until everyone has figured out all of our sayings, and then we can change it.
Okay. We're
I don't
moving
know how
on.
we take that tally. Please write in your submissions as to where you think all of these quotes are coming from, and we'll figure out if we're ready to change them or not. Thanks.
I don't know. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, it was created a long time ago. I feel like it could be something more technologically sound, but it's still, we're nuts and bolts. We're, scotch tape and duct tape kind of podcast. So as you can tell by our audio half of the time.
Correct.
I almost said our audio.
Our audio. Because it's the A. It's the AU. How it's hard to not do it. The mouth wants to just
All right. So the Eisner bracket, just to remind everybody, was the Tower of Terror drops versus a friendship boat ride. It was the monorail through the Contemporary, whether you're on it or just watching it, versus entering the Millennium Falcon cockpit. It was the Sonata Bread service versus the Small World Heaven Room. It was Spaceship Earth's Planetarium versus Wheezy singing After Your Slinky Dog Dash. Peter Pan's Flight over London versus Drinks at Oga's. It was the Carno attacking on Dinosaur versus a blustery day in the 100-Acre Wood. It was the Flight across Pandora's Landscape versus Daisy's Runaway Dancing. And it was the Muppet Vision Salute to All Nations, but mostly America. That whole minute and a half finale, as it were, versus the Views from the Astro Orbiter. That's what we got. Let's see what some of our friends have here. Let's see if I remember. Maybe I don't know who. Oh, this is Skipper Bob. Skipper Bob had Spaceship Earth over the Tower of Terror, and he's got Muppet Vision over Peter Pan. This is Skipper Bob. I guess I'm surprised he took Peter Pan over Oga's in that first round. I'll have to discuss that with him. I'm just assuming anything with drinking, Skipper Bob is taking. So maybe I'm wrong there. And then we have our friend Dr. Jacqueline over at Pixie Dust PhD. She's got the Tower of Terror drops over Small World, and she's got the Blustery Day on Winnie the Pooh over Pandora, which I think that's a bit of a shocker.
Yeah.
We had to talk about the Winnie the Pooh ride in Fantasyland a couple of weeks back, and how we feel like it misses the mark every time we go on it. We don't know what it's missing.
Right.
There's an essence missing, I suppose.
That's true.
All right. Jen, which choices do you have left in your 16, and which 4, and who is moving on?
Okay, so I have, here's what I'm happy that I did. Each time we've started these live streams, I have completed whatever round we're working on about 5 minutes before coming here. And then I stop and I don't look at it. And I don't come back to it until the next week. And then I do it again. And I'm glad, because as I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, well, I didn't choose that one. Oh, I went with, I did that one. And I'm questioning my decisions. So it's good that I just did it this way and just leave it and not see it. Anyway, all right. So I have the monorail versus the Spaceship Earth Planetarium. And then I have Peter Pan's Flight over London versus Muppet Vision 3D. I'm going to start at the bottom and say Muppet Vision won out. Okay. I have a question mark.
All right.
For the monorail through the Contemporary versus Spaceship Earth Planetarium.
What? So let me try to help you out here, right? Because we've discussed this too. We did talk about Spaceship Earth in the Burn Bomb guide over on the balcony level at DelosDizResorts.com, your virtual destination for exclusive Delos Diz content, DelosDizResort.com, Patreon memberships beginning as low as $1 per month. Anyway, so we did a live stream over there about Spaceship Earth, and we talked about how maybe younger folks these days, like, it doesn't have the same
like
impact.
Younger than you, or like young?
Yeah, well, everyone's younger than me, but when you reach the top of Spaceship Earth, I feel like it does not have the same impact anymore. Whether it's the music cues aren't the same, or the music isn't the same, or it's the lead in that isn't as strong for me anymore. I don't know, but I feel like it's a little bit of revisionist history how we feel about the top. It's still cool to get to the top, but I don't know if it's the same as it was when we were younger. So just to put that in your ear as you debate the monorail through the contemporary, which the contemporary we do not have a lot of nostalgic ties to.
Correct.
So now I'm just making it tougher for you to decide because we have more nostalgic ties to Spaceship Earth. It's just not the same as it was when we were kids.
Right. Steffers, you're late, but you're here, and that's what matters. Okay, I have to think about the feels I get. Let me think about the feels without crying, thinking about both of the feels because I just want to be
all right,
there.
you think about it. I'm going to say...
Oh, yeah, you go through yours.
Yeah. So I had the Falcon versus Spaceship Earth. I had the Peter Pan Flight over London versus Muppet Vision. Muppet Vision over Peter Pan, much like you. Here, I went with the Falcon. You have the monorail instead of the Falcon.
Yeah.
I went with the Falcon over Spaceship Earth because, for that very reason, it's not the same impact. I think if I could still hear that music crescendo the same way at the top of Spaceship Earth that it used to before it hit Tomorrow's Child, it would be Spaceship Earth. But I do not, and therefore, the joy of entering the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, I don't care if I'm a single rider.
Right.
That still wins.
Okay. I think the feels I feel on the monorail going into the contemporary, which has no nostalgia for us because we've never stayed, but the feels I feel at that point and looking up into the hotel and the smell when the doors open and all of it, all the senses are in tune when you are in this spot. For that reason, I will go monorail.
Interesting.
So I have monorail versus Muppets.
I mean, I hope I didn't talk you into that one.
No, because I'm thinking about the feels. And I think those are the stronger feels, even when I'm not even staying anywhere near a monorail hotel, but I pretend I am in those moments. And I'm like, this would be great to just be going back to my resort right now. But instead, I have to go to where I secretly park my car and drive back to another resort that I did instead.
All right. No one's yelling at us over here, so
that's good. So far.
I mean, I think we're doing okay.
Yeah.
So the final bracket, it is the Iger bracket. Just to remind everybody, it was the People Mover in and Out of Space Mountain versus the Caves of Thomas Sawyer's Island. It was Trader Sam's disturbing the tiki gods and everything going crazy in those moments versus the Queue of Thunder Mountain, which we love, especially at night. Elsa letting your boat go. Versus ordering a dessert at Beaches and Cream. And we'll talk about that in my decision making in a moment in the tiki room, which, the rumors have there may be a design where they tried to see what Moana would look like over the tiki room today. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. Versus the Cali River 30-foot dip, as it were, the slide, the safari versus a little ditty we like to call Summit Plummet. Listen, in fact, I get to say that 3 weeks in a row. Makes these live streams worth it, along with all of you in the chat room.
Hi, Theme Park Rep.
The Tree of Life photo opportunity versus a Jelly Rolls sing-along, a takeoff at Mission Space, the takeoff portion versus anytime Figment appears on the Imagination Ride, the Pirates raiding Town Square versus Jen's Cinderella team, the Valparaiso of Dillo's Madness, inhaling the fumes at the Tomorrowland Speedway.
Yeah.
Jen, before we get to it, let's see. Let's just pull up one here. Who is it? I know this is Lee's right here. Lee Taylor. Yes. Dillo's Diz Resort guest, Lee Taylor. He's got the People Mover, and he's got the People Mover over the Tiki Room. He's got the Safari over Figment. So he's got the People Mover and Safari moving on.
Interesting.
Jen?
Yeah, I find it interesting that neither of us at this stage of the game have anything Animal Kingdom related. Correct? You don't have anything in that Sweet 16, right?
No. Did you just freeze? Who froze? Did I freeze?
First, Beaches and Cream dessert. What? Are you crying? Oh, you just froze with a crying face. That was amazing. Yes. Are we? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We're back.
People.
What are you asking me?
No, I'm saying my Sweet 16. Okay. People Mover versus Beaches ice cream, dessert. Are y'all saying shocking to me?
Who's shocking? Or that I froze? Was it shocking that I froze?
Right. I mean, it's all possible.
Or it's shocking that we don't have an Animal Kingdom pick.
Correct. There's a lot actually that have just happened in the last 2 minutes that could be shocking. And then jelly rolls versus the fumes. And I have one question mark in this section.
I have one question. My only question mark is in this section, obviously, because I haven't given a question mark yet. But I will say outright, I had People Mover, Beaches and Cream, Jelly Rolls, and the Pirates. Okay. And I'm really surprised, but I put in Jelly Rolls over Pirates because I think I'm really looking forward to doing that when I get back and Jelly Rolls reopens. Yeah. So I had Jelly Rolls move on to the Elite Eight. It is the People Mover versus the Beaches and Cream dessert that I need to have a discussion with you about. Back to you.
All right. So I have it reversed. So I have People Mover versus Beaches. I went People Mover. Again, here are things that I've said. This one, my most favorite thing about Disney ever this March Madness, a year or two ago. So how am I not going to pick it here? But Beaches and Cream dessert, that's like my favorite. But now they changed the restaurant. So obviously there's been change. And can I accept it? No. So I have to go with People Mover. My question mark comes with Jelly Rolls versus the Fumes. That's tough. That's tough.
So a live experience with our favorite piano player, Scotty Kilwine, playing along, everyone singing along.
Correct.
Versus inhaling the fumes of the Tomorrowland Speedway cars. Now, I don't know, how long has it been since you've been on? Can we confirm that it really still smells the same? Is it better? Is it worse?
No, it smells the same. I mean, it's been, probably a couple of years, but not too long since I've been on.
All right, so I'll give you my debate first, and then we'll come back to you because we always want to end on the fumes if that's the one moving on. We've done it for 2 weeks in a row now. So I have a question about the Beaches and Cream dessert versus the People Mover In and Out of Space Mountain, which I specified on purpose to see if it would lose in your eyes somewhere along the line. So Beaches and Cream dessert, does that, to you, when you hear that, does that mean you can walk up to the window and get a shake after you've eaten somewhere else? Does it mean you have to eat there first and get something after? Does a shake count? Does it have to be a No Way Jose or a kitchen sink? How do you classify getting a dessert at Beaches and Cream?
I think any way you can get a dessert is a good thing. I would classify a shake as a dessert because I've had it as like a dessert, but I've also had it as part of my meal. I've also had it as a snack where I just swing by and pick it up. But I also enjoy, back in the day, eating at the counter and having a No Way Jose and like all that kind of stuff. So I feel like for me, it covers all the desserts, all the dessert options.
And Jocelyn says, People Mover will never lose, not even when a cast member is pushing it around. That's fair. Lewis wants, are the fumes running on themselves? Lewis, if you don't know by now, Jen and I are always running on fumes. That's our MO.
Yeah, that's what we do every week.
Gosh. God, I love. I mean, I kind of specify People Mover because I love it going in and out of Space Mountain. That's my favorite part of People Mover. God, I'm gonna go with the People Mover. Oh,
write it down.
I blame it on the renovation.
Write it down before you second guess yourself.
Fine, I'll write it down. People Mover.
All right, so I wrote down an answer. As you were like, I'll go with mine. I'm like, I'm just writing it down. I put the pencil down because then that's my answer.
So you had Jelly Rolls versus the Tomorrowland fumes. Jen, what's it going to be?
Jelly Rolls. Jelly Rolls is my answer.
Wow, down goes the Tomorrowland fumes. Down goes the Tomorrowland fumes.
Next week, I'm going to forget that the fumes are out. And I'm going to be like, wait, what did I... Oh,
why did I not pick the fumes?
But I've set myself up horribly here. I have Dole. It's all my favorite things. Blame Frank because I'm down to all my favorite things. I have Dole Whip versus the Carousel, the Essential Fountains versus the Electrical Water Pageant finale, Monorail through Contemporary and Muppavision 3D, and People Mover versus Jelly Rolls.
You blaming me for that?
Obviously. Did I do this? No.
All right, so this has been Dillo's Madness. Hashtag Dillo's Madness. Hello. We'll be back next week for our final 4 picks. Will go from 8 to 4 next Thursday night. I haven't decided if it's 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. yet. We keep bouncing back and forth.
Time around. Hey, we have a job or something?
I mean, I'm sorry. But now we've done this 3 weeks in a row. Some people say, like, if you do it 3 times in a row, it becomes like a thing. It becomes like a regular thing.
So now this is like a thing. Is that a
thing?
Like
a thing. I don't know. We'll see. The finals will be on April 1st, April Fool's Day, as it were. But we're kind of like in a regular habit of Thursday nights now. I don't know. I'm just saying it out loud. Dillo's Madness, of course, brought to you by Dillo's Diz Resort at dillosdizresort.com, your virtual destination for exclusive Dillo's Diz content. Patreon memberships begin as low as $1 per month. Look for some special offers in April. dillosdizresort.com. Thanks so much for all of you in the chat. We appreciate you playing along with our insanity all the time here on Theme Park Thursday. It's still Theme Park Thursday. Did you not listen to this week's podcast yet? Go check it out because we do 58 minutes of tangents.
That's right. We literally had no idea what we were talking about going.
We literally got to like the 50-minute mark and we kind of came full circle. And I was like, uh-oh, is this the end of the podcast? I literally say out loud, is this the end of the podcast? But that's the kind of episode we're doing this week. And then we have guests lined up for the next 2 weeks. And we'll go from there. And of course, on Tuesday night, March the 23rd, 8:30 p.m., it's the 50th Parks and Monorail's most magical hour. We're going out with a bang. Be there Tuesday night.
Be there, be square.
8:30 p.m. Until that time, she's Jen. I'm Frank. Bye-bye.
This is
End the broadcast.